Hi there. Let's go ahead and read lesson number 17. I see no neutral things. This idea is another step in the direction of identifying cause and effect as it really operates in the world. The key thing to keep in mind here is cause and effect as it operates in the world. You see no neutral things because you have no neutral thoughts. It is always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. This is not the way the world thinks, but you must learn that it is the way you think. If it were not so, perception would have no cause, and would itself be the cause of reality. In view, in view of its highly variable nature, this is hardly likely. So let's talk about this a second. So it is always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. So we have a thought, I don't like that person. That thought then causes the experience of discomfort with that person. The world believes that that person has done something that has caused my thought of judgment. And as long as we believe that something outside of us can cause us to think and feel, we can't take responsibility for the power of the thoughts inside of us to cause the world that we're experiencing. So this is very, very important. The cause and effect in the way that the world sees it is we need to reverse that so that we can begin to understand how powerful our thoughts are. But we're not going to change. We're not going to be able to reverse the world, the way the world sees things, until we understand how it's happening inside of us. So paragraph 2. In applying today's idea, say to yourself with open eyes, I see no neutral things because I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things because I have no neutral thoughts. As I scan my room, I'm seeing a board, I'm seeing a lamp, I'm seeing a window, and I have thoughts about those things, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. That's why we don't have neutral thoughts. When the ego is the one that's active, there are no neutral thoughts because the ego makes everything right or wrong, good or bad, positive, negative. Sentence number 3. Then look about you, resting your glance on each thing you note long enough to say, I do not see a neutral blank because my thoughts about blank are not neutral. I do not see a neutral lamp because my thoughts about the lamp are not neutral. And I'm looking at a lamp in my office, and it happens to be that I live in a house with it's a roommate, and that's her lamp. And I can tell you that as I'm looking at that lamp, I don't have a neutral thought because I don't like that lamp. It's not a lamp that I would buy. It's the shade is a little bigger than I would have put on that size lamp. The lamp itself, the base, is really old-fashioned, so I wouldn't buy it. So as I'm looking at that lamp, I'm not seeing neutral thoughts. I'm perceiving the lamp through a projection inside of me. So for example, you might say, I do not see a neutral ball because my thoughts, I do not see a neutral wall because my thoughts about walls are not neutral. I do not see a neutral body because my thoughts about bodies are not neutral. So if you recently took down a wall, you might look at a wall and the first thought in your mind is like, ooh, I wonder what that wall is made of. I wonder if that's a load-bearing wall. Maybe that's a brick wall. You're going to have a judgment about that wall. If you see a body, you may be thinking, oh, my body's too chunky, it's too fat, it's too slim, it's too thin, it's too this, too that, it's too, whatever. So this is why we have to understand that we have thoughts about what we're perceiving, and that's why the thoughts are not neutral. Paragraph 3, as usual, it is essential to make no distinctions between what you believe to be animate or inanimate, pleasant or unpleasant. Regardless of what you may believe, you do not see anything that is really alive or really joyous. That is because you are unaware as yet of any thought that is really true, and therefore really happy. That is because you're unaware as yet. We're going to be moving to the place and we're going to begin to think with God, to know with God is more appropriately said. And then we'll know what is really true, and therefore we will be really happy. Paragraph 4, 3 or 4 specific practice periods are recommended, and no less than 3 are required for maximum benefit, even if you experience resistance. However, if you do, the length of the practice period may be reduced to less than a minute or so. That is otherwise recommended. So Jesus again doesn't want to push us, but is giving us yet another step on this journey of recognizing that the ego thought system is totally and completely not only the opposite of God's way of perceiving the world, but it's absolutely an upside down thought system that we're thinking outside is affecting us, but it's really from the inside affecting the outside. So not only are we reversing that it's upside down, but then we're going to eventually, when we get it right side up and we're responsible and acknowledge that we are the ones who are creating the world outside of us, then comes the second part of the lessons, which is then to let the thought system go altogether. But we cannot let it go at all until we flip it, because when we flip it is when we see how valueless the ego thought system is. Thanks a bunch and have a magnificent day.